out there, depending on, how aggressively the town works through that or whatnot. So the money will be earning interest at a pretty good clip. So the money will not be sitting idle and people being taxed on money that's not gaining interest or just sitting there. Next slide. So why does the school board recommend this project? So we'll take a step back and look at last year. Last year we had a new school in the ballot, 71 million. We had a warrant article for 36 million. The town spoke pretty clearly on the school, so we heard loud and clear and took that off this year. And the 36 million did get 52% last year. We heard people loud and clear, and we did drop it by a third to the 24.6 million. And what I would say to that is, for the people who are still pushing for that 14 million, what I would say is, I think the school board, the administration, have done our part to listen to the voters. And I think what I would say is we would ask that the people who are still on the fence or that want to see a lower amount bond look at it as a compromise. We did our part in the compromise. I think we look forward to other people doing their part from a compromise perspective. So everybody wins, the children in this town wins, parents, teachers, taxpayers, administration. I think that's in the spirit of compromise. I think that's we would all do a good job if we could bridge that gap. I feel as though the school board and administration have done our job to listen and do the best we can for the voters, especially now that we know we're going to have a budget that's under default, despite significant revenue losses. So, warrant Article 3, is that still me, or is that, all right. So warrant Article 3, we have our proposed budget. Estimated tax impact is 2 cents. So we are $1.06 below default. So in order for us to get there, we had to cut around $750,000 roughly during our budget process. We did that, whether it was through cuts or deferred or costs that we could look at for the current year. But either way, we got the budget on default, which was, if I'm not mistaken, one of the asks. We have a legislative liaison committee that meets quarterly, and one of the asks of that committee was to bring that budget under default, and we have done that. So it's just one more sign that the school board, administration, everyone involved, fiscal advisory, we heard the constituents, and we came through from that regard, despite some challenges that came through our way during that process, and quite frankly, next couple of years are going to be even more challenging. So, from that perspective, I think everyone involved in the budget process did a really good job of compromise, and there was definitely people who didn't get what they wanted, and others did. It's just how it's supposed to work. But at the end of the day, I think we're providing a budget that makes sense from a cost perspective and a needs perspective, and we've figured out ways to things that we couldn't do in that budget. We figured out ways on a couple items to make it work from a facilities need, whether it's the divider wall, which we'll be talking about on the 10th at East Derry, and some IT items. So we'll figure that out before the year end. But overall, just want to commend everybody for a job well done on the budget. So next slide, we have so we have a trend of the budget. So when you look at, it's a three-year trend going back. Typically, our budgets are falling right around $1. You see $1.04, $1.07, $1.13. That was the trend for a long time. Excuse me, the last 3 years, anyways. Prior, I assume it was roughly the same. So you look at this year's budget. When you include the teacher's contract, and Michael will be talking about that in a few minutes. That's 26 cents. And then, as I mentioned, the budget's 2 cents. So we're going to have the combined, when you look at apples to apples when it's trending, we'll have a 28-cent number, which is, I've only been around 4 years, but it's in my time, it's unheard of. So I think we can all be happy with the compromise that we have and moving forward. So, so why, next slide, please. So why the school board supports this budget? Budget doesn't affect our class sizes. Class sizes remain class sizes remain within the school board goals, efficiently utilizes resources, maintains all current teacher positions, still supports one-to-one technology. We have specialized programs based on student needs, and limits pre-K to 8 spending to less than 1% from the previous year. All right.
Okay, warrant Article 4 is the proposed teacher contract. As you can see here, it's a 3-year contract with estimated increases that are kind of shared here over the next 3 years. The estimated tax impact is 26 cents in year 1. And this was as we can talk about further, a productive, collaborative discussion. It wasn't easy, but it was something that I think both sides worked really hard to achieve. Next slide is Article 5, and this is just allows the governing body, if Article 4 is defeated, to call one special meeting at its option to address the teacher contract cost items only. So as I think Austin has said a few times, we hope that we don't necessarily need warrant Article 5 because warrant Article 4 is approved, but that contingency exists. I think, Michael, you're going to talk a little bit about this piece, right?
Yep. So, so like Joe just said, for the teacher contract, the Dairy Education Association, which is the union that represents the teachers, they have a 3-year deal expiring at the end of the year. So over the course of several months last year, the Board Negotiations Committee sat down with the DEA to negotiate a successor agreement. So the agreement that you're going to see on the ballot is going to be another 3-year agreement. It's going to run through the 27-28 school year. Teachers on steps 1 through 14 of the salary schedule are going to receive a 3.5% increase. And teachers who are on those steps will also move up 1 step on the schedule each year until they reach step 15. The teachers that are on the top step 15, they'll receive a 4% increase each year of the agreement. For the association's membership, the annual increases under the prior agreement, they haven't kept pace with inflationary forces, and the spiraling costs of healthcare over the last several years have also had a big impact on their take-home pay. The top 2 plans currently offered through the district's healthcare provider, Health Trust, are also being discontinued at the end of the year, and that allowed us to take some realized savings from that and reallocate it back into the salaries. The board has also agreed to increase the district's share of the lowest cost health plan from 90% to 95% in the hopes of making that plan more attractive. There are also increases in allocations for extracurricular and athletic stipends and the elimination of an attendance incentive, again, with also those funds being redirected into the salary increases. So what I'll say about what the impact of this contract will be, the starting teacher salary in Derry has lagged slightly below the state average in recent years, and that's going to be amplified by our location in what's one of the highest paying areas of the state for teachers. So we believe that the increases in this contract are crucial to keep pace with our surrounding communities. We know a lot of the towns that border us also have new agreements on the ballot this year, and they're looking to do the same thing that we're looking to do. And we also believe that this new contract will help us retain the excellent teachers that are already here and keep us an attractive destination for new teachers.
Okay, so it has been a long but successful budget process that started back in late summer, early fall. And I want to thank all of the members of the Fiscal Advisory Committee. I want to thank the school board, the administration, for a process that, as I said, I believe is successful in bringing forward some warrants that we are hoping will pass. We've been through the public hearing. We've been through the deliberative session. I want to thank everybody that showed up to the deliberative session. And last but not least is 3 weeks from today, Tuesday, March 11th, voting at the Pinkerton Academy Hackler Gymnasium, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Just want to remind people that in November we had over 18,000 voters come out, and I'm hoping that more than the normal 2,000 to 3,000 in March will come out 3 weeks from tonight. And vote, do your civic duty, and we appreciate that. Looking forward, I'm saying I'm going to appreciate that now that we'll see some good numbers out for voting. And I will turn this back over to our chair, David Clapp.
All right, thank you guys. One last update. So tomorrow night we have the forum for school board members at the Opera House at 6:30 tomorrow night. And then on Thursday we have the town offices doing the same forum on same place, 6:30 at night. So encourage people to watch, show up if you can, but definitely watch. Some good, usually a lot of good questions are asked, a lot of good feedback and is given. So definitely tune in. So with that being said, any board members want to say anything before we open up to questions? All right. So I'll open up the floor for any questions. We'll answer them if we can tonight. If not, we'll definitely get back. So I open up the floor for questions. Give your name and address for the record. All right. Before we wrap up, the one thing I do want to say is, and I meant to add this in the presentation, so when we talk about the
David,
trend...
I just wanted to thank the 5 people that are out in our audience right now for coming. I don't know why you came out in like 5-degree weather, but I do appreciate your civic duty in being here. Same smiling faces each time. Appreciate it.
I would say too, if you're here, if you're watching this video at home now or later, the most important thing you can do is just tell people that there's an election in March and they should come out and vote, because that is often the largest hurdle that we have to get over.
No doubt. All right. So the one thing I was going to add, when we talk about the tax impacts, when you add in the teacher's contract, the budget, and the warrant article for capital improvements, it totals 72 cents, which is still well below what we've used to seeing over the last several years from a total tax impact. So I would encourage people to take that into consideration when you're looking through this. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to the board. I know there'll be lots of flyers going out in the next several weeks. Lots of word of mouth will be going out in the next several weeks. So please reach out. We have a specific website, email address that you can address. That'll be on the flyer. capital-bond@sau10.org. Those emails will go to Michael and myself, and we can answer, set up phone calls, discuss anything you'd like regarding the capital improvements, budget, whatever you want to talk about. More than happy to set up times to talk, do it through email, whatever your preference is. But I encourage people to reach out to whoever, get information, and be prepared when you go into the booth on Election Day. What I would say is I hate this term when it talks about national politics, but this is really an important election for us here in Derry. Because if this bond doesn't pass, for a lot of reasons, it will be not a good situation, which, for the obvious reasons, is the urgency of what we're asking for and what we've identified as the most critical needs. And let me be clear, if the bond doesn't get passed, we don't have any other mechanisms to raise money. So this would have to wait for another year, or some sort of special, which I don't even want to get into, the convoluted nature of that. But keep that in mind, and the longer you wait, the more things cost. It's just the nature of life, and one of the things we estimate from our consultants 13% per year every year you wait on critical projects. So so keep those things in mind as you do your research. And with that being said, unless there's anything else the board members want to talk about, I will close this meeting. And I just want to thank people who come out. I want to thank the administration for all they've done in the last several months, and 18 months, really, I guess, but more so in the last several months, to put together and get where we are today. So it's a big haul, and I appreciate it. And I want to thank all the board members for the efforts they'll be putting in over the next few weeks, and what you've done already. I'm hearing a lot of more positivity and out there, and something that I think we should be proud of. And let's get this done over the next 3 weeks. So Thank you again. Everyone have a good night. See you on the 10th of March for our next board meeting.